It's that time of the year again. The Festival of Trees is back in Boise.
This is a real public, private philanthropy, all things coming together at the same time. And that is the main spirit, I think, that somebody would detect as they walk in the doors.
Travis Leach with Saint Alphonsus Heart System is here to talk about the festival and the beneficiary. Next.
This is the BoiseDev podcast. Here's your host, Don Day.
Travis Leach, president of Saint Alphonsus Regional Medical Center in Boise. Welcome to the BoiseDev podcast.
Thank you.
It's that time of year again, Festival of Trees time. Some people like to call it Christmas time, but I think of like Festival of Trees as the big kickoff. Are you excited for this year?
It's really exciting. I mean, unlike any other time, it's just to kick off the holidays in a lot of ways for us, and really sets the tone for the next 6 or 8 weeks. It's a lot of fun.
And this is kind of St. Alphonsus's biggest public outreach event of the year. Obviously a lot going on, but kind of the biggest touch point for people who maybe obviously aren't using medical services.
Yeah.
What can people expect to see at the festival?
So I would describe it in a lot of ways as a winter wonderland. Many, many trees, festivities. There's a lot of things associated with the Festival of Trees itself, like the gala. We have a fashion show, all types of things just to really engage our community and just have a lot of fun with Christmas and the spirit and the beauty of the decorations that people put together. You'll see amazing craftsmanship and creativity. It always blows my mind what I see when I walk in the room.
We'll touch more on the specifics of the festival in a minute, but let's talk about you.
Yes.
You've been with the health system now for about 14 years. Did you start here in Boise? Tell us about your journey.
Yeah, I'm a native Idahoan. I started out in eastern Idaho, grew up there, was born in Idaho Falls, and moved over to the Valley here about 25 years ago. Started working in outpatient medicine for the local family medicine residency training program. It's called Full Circle Health, and that was my journey into healthcare. Eventually joined St. Alphonsus in 2010. Originally did some administrative things and eventually took over their surgical services department, and then was promoted to take over the Nampa Hospital for St. Al's just after the new Garrity Medical Center was opened in 2018. And now I'm back at the Regional Medical Center in Boise and just delighted to be here.
So people think of, I think if you've been around a while, you think of the Regional Medical Center as the main hospital. Maybe not fair to call it that anymore because there's so many branches.
Yes.
But that's a big job, 380 beds or something like that.
Technically 411, I found out.
Okay. Your bio said 381, so I got the wrong number. But
Yep.
I mean, that's a significant operation, emergency services, and a lot going on there. Seems like a pretty demanding job day to day.
It is, and it's fascinating to be a regional medical center because you got to think about the geographical area that we pull in. It's hundreds of miles in every direction people come because a lot of people know this, but the Treasure Valley is one of the most isolated metropolitan areas from any other metro area in the United States. We don't have a lot of big cities right around us. So we have to either import or create almost everything here because we don't have the luxury of a Salt Lake right next door or a Seattle right next to Tacoma. So it presents challenges, but also opportunities to really develop health care for our community.
And it's kind of the destination for especially trauma, among other things. So if somebody has some sort of trauma needs, that's kind of where they're going from, Baker to southwestern Montana to all over,
Yeah, as far as north as Lewiston, we've had patients from northern Nevada. We definitely pull in from a very big catchment area.
And then obviously just taking care of the needs of our community here in Boise. What has being part of this system meant for you and your career?
So for me, I was born a Catholic kid in eastern Idaho, and so right off the bat, coming to work for a hospital that was founded by Sisters of the Holy Cross in 1894.
Yeah.
St. Al's was the first hospital in Boise.
Yeah.
And to, in some way, be part of that mission all the way here in 2025 is just a really special thing for me. It warms my heart, and it feels like we're still making that same impact that they set out to do back in the 1890s.
So this year, I like to think of the Festival of Trees as a fun kickoff event for the holiday season, but it also helps raise money and awareness for a different cause every year. Last year, the Cancer Institute. I think there was some thought about maybe doing that for multiple years, but this year it's a different beneficiary. Tell us about what is going to benefit from the festival this year?
Yeah, so Saint Alphonsus over many, many years has spent a lot of time and energy and dollars developing our heart care services, specifically our Heart Institute. And we just continue to develop new technologies and new ways. Again, back to that isolation. We want to make sure that people can be taken care of here as close to home as possible and not have to export people to either Salt Lake City or Seattle area for the larger heart procedures. So we just continue to mature and develop and take develop new technologies for our community because we don't want people to have to travel. We want you to be able to get high-end medical care right here in the Valley, close to home. And so the Heart Institute is the beneficiary this year, and we have a lot of things that we are developing. We do open heart surgery. We do what's called structural heart procedures where we can go in and repair parts of your heart. We're moving down the road towards what are called ventricular assisted devices. Basically, people that are looking to get a heart transplant or have advanced heart failure, we're working on developing that program. So about a year out from now, we will be able to provide that service here.
So explain that a little bit more. What is that? Yeah,
so if you think of somebody that has either advanced heart failure, their heart's weaker, that's not functioning, they can put in a mechanical device. It's a surgery in your heart to help it pump and work correctly. It requires basically a control panel people wear, and it can help move the heart along and give people access to a good standard of living until either they have a heart transplant or move on. So the beauty of that is it restores people back to some level of living that is something they couldn't get otherwise.
So is this different than like a pacemaker type of device?
Yeah, it's essentially like an add-on motor to your heart to keep it pumping inside your chest. Yeah.
Interesting. So battery-powered kind of a
battery
device.
Powered. Yeah, you got to recharge it.
Fascinating.
Yes.
So you picked the Heart Institute this year. Obviously, the health system has so many needs, and as does our whole healthcare system. Why this and why now?
Yeah, great question. So probably not lost on anybody that our valley is growing.
Yeah.
And with that, a lot of people are coming here. In addition to people that have lived here for a long, long time, there is more needs, especially around cardiology. Our population, as it continues to expand, there's a lot of people that are moving back to the Treasure Valley, and there's a lot of people that are older and tend to need cardiovascular type of services. So we're growing and trying to meet that emerging need. The other thing to pay attention to is that people think of, especially like heart attacks and things like that, as predominantly male conditions. The older guy that ends up with heart attacks, and women and men experience heart attacks and heart failure at the same rates.
Interesting.
And so we have got to work to create devices and things that continue to help this growing population in our valley. It's just continuing to get larger.
Is it just population growth, or is there a factor of this in increases in cases across the country? Is it kind of both, or?
It's primarily age, an aging population.
Yeah.
All of us as we age need to pay a little more attention to our hearts. And so for us in this valley, it's just the in-movement of people. It's just producing more people that need access to care.
So the festival will bring some funds to this.
Yes.
Where will the dollars go?
So they will go directly to help us developing these types of programs. So you got to think about there's mapping technologies that have to look at the heart, ultrasounds, things that help us diagnose correctly, pinpoint how the devices would be used. And there's a plethora of things that have to happen before you get ready for any kind of procedure or after. So it's not just related to the ventricular assistive devices. It can be any heart services. We just got to continue to grow our program. Previous Festival of Dreams a few years ago, we used the dollars to expand our cardiac rehabilitation program. So we nearly had to double the size of our space to take care of patients. We had all the things you do to rehab your heart after it gets operated on or cared for.
So will these dollars, is it capital primarily? Is that where it'll go?
It can go to capital. It can go to education, new certifications for the program. There's a number of things that go into developing the program. We have to fly people out to go learn how to do the procedures at major medical centers like Mayo or Cleveland because we don't have the local education here. So it's a programmatic, capital, like I said, space, all of the types of things we need to grow the program.
And is that primarily housed at the Boise campus, or is it throughout the system?
We have heart services all across the health system. So Boise is obviously our largest program. We do a fair amount of work in Nampa also. I used to run the hospital there, and we're a STEMI certified, which is a type of emergency heart attack that we take care of there. We do rehabilitation services all across the health system, catheter procedures where we can go up and take care of things that are anomalies within the heart. So yeah, we have spread the services to the extent possible across our whole health system.
I said early on that it's money and awareness. Obviously, this podcast is a bit about the awareness.
Yes.
But when people come to the festival, do you hope that they sort of take away some understanding of St. Alphonsus and what it does and what the need is? And how do you get to that?
Yeah, I think that what I would want somebody to take away, this is our 41st year, so we've been at it a while. We've obviously been a health system, a hospital in this valley, for well over 100 years. I want people to see the commitment that we make to our community to continue to improve services to bring care close to home. I'd want people to say, here's a long-standing partner that really cares for us and is trying to look ahead and see the changing demographics in our community and be ready to meet those with new technology, new facilities, new trainings, everything we can bring, because we want to keep Idaho people in Idaho and take good care of them.
Are there certain stories that stand out to you in terms of what the Heart Institute has been able to do for patients and things that may not have even been possible a few years ago? Yeah,
there are hundreds of stories. We do about 390 open heart procedures every year at the Boise campus, where we're actually going in and doing a surgical procedure.
So that's more than one a day.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is just one type of procedure we do. Another one that I love to talk about is called the TAVR procedure. It's a transcatheter.
TAVR.
TAVR, T-A-V-R. Okay. It stands for transcatheter aortic valve replacement. We can actually go up through your femoral artery and put a new aortic valve into your heart.
Interesting.
And I used to be the surgical director for St. Al's way back in 2014. I think we did our first one. I watched the first one place. We just surpassed 1,000 of them.
Wow.
And without getting into the medical technical part of it, because I'm not a doctor, obviously, I can tell you that people come in 3 or 4 days, walk out of our hospital. We don't have to open their chest. Their quality of life is instantly better. And like I said, we've done 1,000 of these. And we're also 3-star rated out of 3 stars, which is the best you can get in the country. So we are up there with the top 5 or 6% of TAVR programs across the entire country. Right here in Boise, you're getting that care.
It's fascinating. I have a cousin who's close to me who has had congenital heart issues and his whole life, and had a number of open heart surgeries when he was younger, and recently had a procedure, and it was catheter based, and instead of this, like literally cracking open the chest, which I think people don't even think about, like how invasive that truly is until you start to think about it for a second, to a catheter-based procedure earlier this year that was very successful. And his recovery time was, it wasn't done here in Boise, but because it was a complicated case, but like he was up and moving pretty quickly, and the recovery was so much faster. And it's just fascinating to see in his lifetime, he's a little younger than I am, how this has progressed. Do you have hope for kind of even more progression as we go along?
Yeah, what we're seeing in the industry wide, even outside of heart surgery, you're seeing what are called minimally invasive procedures. And that's an example of that. We're using the body's anatomy to get to places where you normally would have had to open up the chest or do things like that. And we're seeing that across the entire surgical realm, but in particular with heart and then structural heart, when you can go in and fix things without having to, as you said, open up the sternum. That's a big incision and a big wound to deal with, in addition to what they're doing to the heart. And so that is really, really exciting. And the ventricular assistive devices, like we're talking about, when you can go in there and start helping to keep the heart alive and moving, that paves the way for things down the road, like transplants, and just the technology every day is improving. It's getting smaller, better, more durable, and giving people a longer, better quality of life.
Why'd you get into this? Hospital administration seems like it's a stressful kind of a thing, and it's medicine, but you're not a doctor. And like, what drove you to do this for your career?
My mom was a nurse,
okay,
and my dad was a nuclear engineer. So I think somewhere between the two of those, that's actually how I ended up in Idaho. My dad worked out at the INEL when I was a kid.
Okay,
he was a nuclear engineer, and so I think somewhere between those two things, I was always fascinated with the healing of people. I actually early on started out in mental health. And when I was first out of college, when you see the suffering of other human beings and you see practitioners and physicians able to do something to cure, it's such a special place to be a part of that. And for me, I'm tangential to it because we run the business of medicine, but I get to be a part of that mission. I get to be a part of that, watching somebody wheeled out of the hospital in a wheelchair at the end of the day because they just had their heart procedure a few days ago or weeks ago, and watching them get into the car and they're going home is like, I'm doing something for my community, and my neighbors benefit from what I'm doing. So that's ultimately what warms my heart and keeps me going back every day.
Yeah. Speaking of warming hearts, the Festival of Trees this year, let's talk about some of the details. So we'll run this podcast this week. So it starts on November 20.
Yeah, I got the details with me. The gala is where we have the dinner is the November 25th.
So let's talk about the gala. We'll pick this apart piece by piece.
Yes.
For people who haven't been to that, I imagine it's sold out this year. It typically is.
I think we're sold out.
Yeah, and so, but maybe explain for people what that does and a little bit about the programming there and why that's important.
So the gala is important because it's sort of the real kickoff for the Festival of Trees, and it gets it's a dinner party essentially in a lot of ways to bid on and see all the trees, and that's where a lot of the funds are raised for in this case the Heart Institute this year. And it's very festive. It's a sit-down dinner with bidding and all the things you would expect to see at a fundraiser. But it's all surrounding this kind of spirit of philanthropy and giving back to your community. So really trying to raise the fun and excitement around that.
And there's some storytelling to that, right? Like usually there's some sort of talking about and some video about what the beneficiary is. Does that education with people who are, fortunate in our community typically, does that help pay dividends, do you think?
Yeah, typically we'll try to identify a patient who's benefited from the services that we're showcasing this year, and wouldn't want to do any kind of spoiler alert. But
I know who it is, but I'm not going to say because somebody told me. But we'll leave that as a surprise.
Yeah, so we like to showcase their journey when they first became acquainted with Saint Alphonsus, how they moved through their journey, and then ultimately how they've recovered and gotten back to life. And it's a way to tug at the heart as we're talking about hearts. But,
people will recognize this person, I think.
Yes.
So that's kind of the first night and raises lots of dollars, and then the festival opens to the public on Wednesday. And when people walk through the door, if they haven't been before, what can they expect?
It is winter wonderland and everything you can think of. There's a kind of a childlike excitement around Christmas, lights everywhere, trees everywhere. The artistry that goes into developing the trees I mentioned before is just amazing, and you can get kind of caught up in the stories of each one of the trees. The amount of time and energy people put into these is amazing, and I still am astonished by how some of these are put together. And so it really creates this warm, giving sense of wonderland for Christmas for everybody.
My knowing laugh is because for the first time we're doing a tree this year. We are releasing this incredible Idaho Women book, and we're doing a tree that's themed to the book. And I won't also spoil our secrets, but it's been fun. Our team's been bedazzling ornaments, and we're, as part of the tree, donating an original print of one of the portraits in the book and a number of the books. And the Diamond Girls is helping us with some drip, as the kids say, so some jewelry. And downtown Boise's pitching in, and so it's been fun for us to take all these things and really try and build a valuable package to hopefully drive bids and dollars for Saint Alphonsus and the Heart Institute. But boy, it's crazy. It's like this crazy process, and we're working with Lombard Conrad Architects, and they're doing this fancy. I don't want to give anything away, but we've really gone a little wild.
Oh, the bigger the better.
And everybody does. I mean, you walk through and you see these things, and it just kind of boggles your mind.
I'm not certain, but I imagine people will start the day after building their next year's tree because some of these trees are just amazing. All the accessories that go with them.
I think there was a golf cart with a tree last year, and so it's really fun to see the creativity. And it's not just trees, Festival of Trees, but there's wreaths and tabletop decor.
Yeah.
You can visit with Santa. There's a tree that talks.
There's always a wine tree.
There's a wine tree.
Yes.
And it's fun because it's grown as the Boise Center has grown and takes over the whole building and the Boise. I hadn't been in a few years and was in last year, and I was surprised because it's not just in the main building, but you go up and over the Sky Bridge and you have more stuff going on in the other building, and so it's really a neat, fun, event. Let's talk about some of the things that people can expect this year, maybe if they haven't been in a few years or that are new.
Yeah, so I think the thing you can expect, this is a real public, private philanthropy, all things coming together at the same time, and that is the main spirit I think that somebody would detect as they walk in the doors. That this isn't just an isolated event just put on by either Saint Alphonsus or the city. It's really a conglomeration of many people and talents coming together, and I just love that for our city. And at a time like no other, finding ways where we can bring people together and celebrate and festivity and do it around something like Christmas trees. It's just a lot of fun. And you get wrapped up in that pretty quickly when you walk in the door.
Wrapped up. It's a nice little Christmas pun. So those new things this year that we'll see, I think People's Choice is coming back this year.
People's Choice.
We're working on that with BoiseDev, and we're excited to spearhead that.
So that's an opportunity I'm excited about because this is a chance for people to weigh in and vote on the trees, and they can even live online auction on the trees. So that's even getting out of the physical venue a little bit in a way where people can participate in a much larger way.
So the silent auction is cool because some of the trees, I think about 10 or so, a dozen are auctioned off at the gala, but then there's way more than that. And people can, if they see a tree that they like, they can make a bid, or even a wreath or a tabletop decoration. They can make a bid, and at the end of the week, volunteers come and package them up and ship them. I mean, these things start at the Boise Center and then get spread all over.
They do. I've actually been able to participate in that
fun.
Years past, and it is quite the operation. To a team of people, it's mostly St. Al's colleagues, will get together and they wrap all the trees up and all the pieces that go with them, and we're delivering them to businesses and private homes and all the challenges that come with that. There's stairs and fences and dogs and we have to have them all in the right order, and sometimes things don't go quite right if you have a low doorway, and so there's always a fix-it person. That was my job, to kind of make sure everything gets put back together, and we have a picture of the whole setup so you can set it up exactly like you saw it at the Festival of Trees. So it was a lot of fun to be a part of.
And then the last piece is on Monday. It will wrap up, and I understand you're going to participate. Tell us about the finale.
So there's a fashion show where we work with local retailers, and a number of us are asked to be models for the fashion show. So
have you ever modeled before?
I have not.
This is your first modeling turn. It could be a new career for you.
I can learn about modeling and all that goes into that, and maybe they'll give me some tips on steps and dancing or something. We'll find out. But we get to participate in that, and it's a lot of fun.
And that's a lunch event.
It's a lunch event, yes.
It sounds like a big year. Are you excited?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for St. Alphonsus. I'm excited for the Festival of Trees. I'm excited for the advancement in medical technology that we're going to be able to derive out of this, and it's just a fun time of year and a great way to kick off the holiday season.
Travis Leach with Saint Alphonsus Health System. Thanks for joining us on the BoiseDev podcast.
Thank you, Don. Appreciate it.